Let's bring in travel industry expert Sandra McLemore. Sandra, thank you so much for your time. So I spoke with you Friday. We had a bit of a shaky start to the holiday weekend. Nancy's there at LAX. Says things are going pretty well. Overall, how would you rate this holiday?
Yeah, this holiday's super smooth. It's always going to be busy and there are always going to be people inconvenienced, and I hate that for them. But as a whole, it's been a really, really smooth weekend.
All right, so Nancy did talk about the thunderstorms that are still kind of on the way, going to hit a section of the country. Do you think we're going to see some meltdowns tomorrow and maybe as we head into Wednesday as people are coming back?
Yeah, that's going to be guaranteed, Nichole, because you'll have aircraft, even if you're not in a place where there's a storm, you'll have aircraft, Nichole, coming from one place to meet you where you are and take you somewhere else. So my biggest tip for people traveling over this holiday week, if you have a connecting flight, so you have two flights and you have a layover somewhere, check the amount of time that you have for your layover. And if it's less than 1.5 hours, see if you can change that second flight. That's going to help to buy you a little bit of time. Much easier to do it that way than to wait and see if you're delayed.
Yeah, very smart there. Sandra, as you know, there has been quite a bit of finger pointing, whether it's at the airlines, whether it's at the weather, but some of it is at the FAA and some of its failing equipment. What really needs to be done to try to make things better?
Yeah, so we spoke a little bit about this on Friday, but we need to see the three main agencies start working together, and that's TSA and the FAA mostly, and then the airlines. The FAA have admitted their shortcomings since March of this year, and one of the biggest ones is their staffing. And I think what we need to understand is what significance the FAA plays in our day-to-day travel. You see, they heavily influence flight schedules, and the airlines really need breathing space between them, but when the FAA is short-staffed, when they have archaic systems, there is a lot of improvement to be done before things can start working smoothly. We should have a much stronger airline infrastructure than what we do.
All right, so Sandra, so many times we talk about what goes wrong. I want to talk about what goes right. And is some of these holiday travel woes really just maybe normal, because we have to consider the quantity of travelers also does spike around a holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really good attitude to have, is what's going right. And as long as we're safe, I think that's the number one thing. But I definitely feel like we have to remember that these holidays see 3, 4, 5, 10 times more traffic than a regular day. And sometimes you'll feel it the most, Nichole, in the smallest airports. You'll feel it in the smallest airports, especially where maybe you don't have TSA or clear, or perhaps there are less aircraft taking off. So I think travelers are doing exactly the right thing. They're turning up early. I think travelers are more savvy now too, Nichole. They know exactly what to expect and they prepare for the worst but hope for the best.
I got to say, Sandra, I'm from Nebraska, so I fly through some small airports. I got to say, though, I love them. It's always so much faster than Chicago, for example. My last question for you. We always talk about this post-pandemic. We're certainly seeing an increase in air travel. Do you think we're going to continue to see that through the rest of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. And the increase in travel, it's two things, Nichole. It's the number of people that are traveling. So that's basic supply and demand that we talk about. But it's also the fact that the airlines never went back to the full staffing levels. When they let go of a lot of pilots and flight crew on early retirement, they never corrected that or went back to their previous levels. Also, where you might have seen, Nichole, maybe like 10 flights going between two destinations in one day, now it might be 5 or 6. So we're not back at full schedule. So while we still have staff shortages in airlines, the FAA, TSA, everywhere, and we have less flights in the sky, and we have more people traveling, yeah, it's going to feel busy for a while.
And it makes sense, like you said, and one of your answers, we have to get all of these agencies on board. Sandra McLemore, thank you so much. Great speaking with you.
See you soon.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.